Got a dynamic duo joining us today. Two brothers who have got some interesting things to tell us. So without further ado, I'm going to let them introduce themselves. You are?
Assalamu alaikum, I'm Adil.
Adil?
Naseem.
Naseem, okay. Adil and Naseem Miah, welcome. Welcome to the studio.
Thanks for having us.
It's very good to have you. Now, I'm really thrilled because actually you're doing something very different. Would you like to tell us, what is it that you do?
So we're boxers from North London.
Fantastic. Boxers.
Yeah, we've been pursuing this career. This is our job at the moment.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You know, it's not very often that you hear about Bangladeshi boxers, British Bengali boxers.
Yeah.
What made you decide to go into this kind of profession?
So our dad actually got us into it from a young age. We started actually just for, you know, he wanted to get us into it with hyperactive kids, etc. Just a place to waste some energy.
Right.
I feel like martial arts can be a very good way to teach discipline, especially when you're younger.
Yes, absolutely.
And you know, I think health is something, and sport is something that's quite underlooked, especially in the Bengali community. We need to do our part.
Yes.
And to stay fit and exercise, because I think sports is just as important as anything else, really.
That was the main reason our dad got us into it, just as young kids.
Really?
Yeah.
So it was started off as a form of discipline, a
Yeah.
form of kind of trying to keep you focused on things, and as you say, to become healthy and fit. You know, were there any sort of weight issues that you guys were worried about, or just general fitness?
So it's funny, I was actually overweight for
Right.
a large portion of my life. It's a Bengali diet.
Yes, of
And,
course. Rice and curry.
Yeah.
We all love it.
Yeah, I can never say no to that. So that was my biggest weakness. And boxing, naturally, weight started coming off. I started getting better. Neither of us started good.
Yeah, we weren't naturally talented at it. It had to come from sheer hard work. Some people, you know, they'll come with the blessing of being naturally capable.
Alhamdulillah, our family, they kept us supported throughout. That was the main thing, because when you're struggling, when you're not doing so well, you need to rely on a few people, like especially family. They were there.
They're the backbone to everything,
that's
aren't
it. That's
they?
the backbone, exactly.
Yeah, that's right. But you went from something that was like a hobby to turning this around into a profession.
Yeah.
Where did that change happen? Or what kind of stage? And what made you decide that this is not just to lose weight because I'm a chubby kid, or, you know, to become focused? What made you decide, actually, I want to pursue this?
So my story was, as I said, when I started, I wasn't gifted with it. So it come from me actually taking punishment in the ring during training.
Okay.
And I didn't like it. I hated boxing at the start. Like, I despised it. I didn't want to go.
Wow.
I only went because my brothers went. But after taking that defeat in training, I thought, you know what, let me put my mind to this, focus on it. And once I started focusing and seeing the results, I was now getting better of these guys that were beating me up in training.
Wow, you got your own back.
Yeah, that was it. And once I had that, that's when I fell in love with it. Like, I seen the improvements, the gains, they say. So that was what kept me going, and to this day still keeps me fixed on it.
Because sport really can teach you a lot about life.
Of course.
And that's why, if I could advise the younger generation, I'd tell them start a sport. It doesn't have to be boxing, it could be anything. But the lessons that you learn when you lose, when you struggle, when you get better and you practice and you see improvement, that can be applied into any area of your life.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I love Naseem, the fact that you take a defeat and you turned it around. You took something that you actually didn't enjoy, and it's actually quite refreshing to hear that. You know, that it's not just about being automatically good at something, but nurturing that and working hard, labouring until you get to the point where actually, you know, you start to see those results. And that in itself is a blessing, isn't it? And that keeps you positive.
Definitely.
But you know, for the younger generation who might not naturally see boxing as a sport that they, you know, want to get into, you know, what would you suggest to them? Find what kind of sport? How do they go about doing this?
I'd suggest, obviously, to try different sports, even if boxing's not the one for you. I know boxing's really big at the moment, so there are a lot of kids a bit more eager to try it out now.
Right.
As Adil said, it's a form of discipline. Any sort of training, putting yourself through that physical pain, but you see the results they'll show, or overcoming adversity. It's not just helps you in your sport, but in all fields of life, always. So I'd suggest to the younger generation, just have a look around, experiment, find what works for you. Sometimes it may be just the gym, it may be boxing, whatever it is.
Just, yeah, exactly what my brother says. I'd say find what you enjoy. It doesn't have to be boxing. But we actually we coach a lot. We do coaching as well,
Yeah.
and we
Okay.
coach a lot of kids, and they come to us, and a lot of them with an interest in boxing.
Yeah.
And you have to, as coaches or as teachers, as role models, whatever, you have to be able to feed that and to help them develop. And you know, as teachers and coaches, we need to do our job and to encourage people to.
Absolutely,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Now you both seem very comfortable with each other on the couch, and it all seems all harmonious and loving. But of course, you're the older brother,
Yeah.
okay, and Adil, you're the younger brother. Naseem, did you at any point feel like Adil's just copying me? He's just doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
How did you manage this?
So, with when we first started, I was actually the one taking it more seriously.
Right.
Adil started to take it seriously a little later, but once we started working together, it was like a dynamic duo.
Yeah.
We're training together. Some days I might not feel like training. He's pushing me, let's go
Oh, I
train.
love that.
And sometimes it's the same,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, obviously, I think he saw me do it once he's seen, you know, the life of a boxer, the wins, etc., competitions. I think he also started to fall in love with it, and then he started putting his mind to it. And I'll
Brilliant.
be honest, if I didn't have him, I don't think I'd probably still be boxing. If I didn't have my family who was supporting me,
That's
because
wonderful.
we've got
That's just so lovely to hear.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you know, in the world of sports, you've got obviously, you know, Serena, you know, you've got these,
Yeah,
you know, these relationships and these
Yeah.
siblings, and they often talk about that bond, you know, how important it is, and it's lovely to see that with you both as well. Can I ask you, so what did your mum say when you first went into boxing? Because you've spoken about your dad,
Yeah.
and I'm just thinking, even myself as a mum, I don't know how I'd feel about my son going into a ring. What did she think about all this? Adil, go ahead.
I think we've been competing, him 10, me 8 years.
Right.
And to this day, before a fight, she's still panicked. She's still worried.
Yeah.
She's still, you know, she still hasn't seen a single one of us fight. She
Yeah.
can't
Hasn't
watch
seen a
it.
single fight?
Live,
She can't watch.
live.
She can't
She
watch a
doesn't
fight
watch it
live.
live,
She can't
no.
do it.
I can imagine.
She likes to sit at home, you
Yeah.
know, she's just praying. We
Making dua.
making
Yeah,
dua
yeah.
that
Yes.
we win, that we're safe, our opponent's safe.
Yeah.
She will watch the footage after. My dad's just keeping her updated on the phone while we're fighting.
She hates
But
when
she
we
doesn't
fight.
like it. Anytime we're
Oh.
training, she catches us training,
Yeah.
coming home.
Yeah, yeah.
She's just like,
That's amazing. Yeah, I can imagine that.
She's so supportive though. Like,
Of Yes.
course,
she's
yeah.
always been so
All of our
supportive.
family,
yeah.
they've,
But she's just scared for us. That's
Of course,
as a
as
mum,
any
as
mother
a
would
mum
be.
should,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And for you guys, I mean, you spoke about the fact that you both do spar together sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look for. What was that one for?
It's still competitive. It's still,
Oh, okay.
As brothers, we've
other,
got
but-
love for each
yeah,
other.
yeah.
But it's always going to be.
You still have to win.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Boxing is a very competitive sport.
Of course. And in the boxing world, who would you say is your role model? Because I mean, for me, I think my family, when we were growing up, we watched a lot of boxing. My dad's generation, of course, Muhammad Ali, you know, the greatest. My generation, it was like sort of Tyson at the time, you know, in Britain, you know, I forgot his name, Lennox Lewis. For you guys, who's your sort of hero? Who do you aspire to be like?
There's a lot of great role models out there, for especially Muslim athlete role. Like from the top of my head, Khabib in UFC. You want to be an ambassador of the sport, but also of the religion and good values for everyone else. You don't want to just be. There are many athletes that we can look at who are doing great in the sport world, but aren't the greatest role models for the younger
Absolutely,
generation.
yeah.
And so, inshallah, we want to be able to do both. To be, you can look at us and say, you know what, they haven't abandoned their religion, they haven't abandoned their sport. They're able to
Yes.
do both. And
Yes.
inshallah, that's the plan. So,
Inshallah.
off the top of my head, I'd say I really like Khabib. He's a UFC fighter.
Yes, yeah.
He's a great role model for the sport. That's somebody.
He is indeed. I agree. That's really interesting to hear. I mean, in the world of sports, you know, combining your deen, combining, as you say, you know, your spirituality and your morality with the sports is something that you guys want to obviously keep up. You know, you've talked about how important that is to you. How do you think one guides the other?
I think Islamic principles really line up with sports. That's what I see. I've noticed a pattern with fighters like Khabib. You've got likes of Muhammad Ali.
Of course.
So when we look at these fighters, as Adil said, we're not just looking at them for their boxing or their MMA, whatever they're doing, but it's their values, their principles, what sort of person they are. So Muhammad Ali, for example, he wasn't known as the greatest for just his boxing. It's
Absolutely
the
not,
person
yeah.
he was outside the ring.
Of course.
And yeah, the principles, Islamic principles for us, and you know, being a good person, it lines up perfectly with boxing. Discipline, you know, just having faith,
Trust and faith.
confidence,
Yes.
all of these
Yeah.
things come from our faith,
Yes, absolutely.
and which also helps with our boxing.
You see some people, when they face adversity, they'll fall off. Straight away they'll fall off. But you know, we were just speaking about earlier about how when we both started off, we didn't do too great. And then we had the faith in Allah to keep going, to keep persisting. And only because of that faith did we keep going. Who knows, maybe if we didn't have that faith, we might have.
Yeah,
Not
because
been
boxing
boxing.
is a sport where
Agree.
you will face a lot of adversity.
In the sports world.
In
you
the
have to
sports
be-
world in general,
Yeah.
but in a sport like boxing, definitely.
And that faith has kept you going. And talking about obstacles, what would you say has been like maybe the hardest barrier or obstacle that you've had to face, that you've had to overcome?
Do you want to go?
Off the top of my head, I do remember for a while I had a really bad bicep injury.
Right.
And as a boxer, when you can't train, when you can't punch
That's a
something
pretty
for-
major thing, I
it's a
can
pretty major-
imagine,
You
yes.
can't punch anything for 6-7 months. And so this is where the principles of faith and trust and patience more than anything really help
Yeah.
me. Because when you're not punching anything for 6-7 months, you can't do anything. You have to have trust, and you have to know that there's something better for me. Allah has done this to me with purpose, and there's something better. And through that, I've learned so many lessons in faith and in boxing.
Absolutely. And as you say, to have that patience.
Patience.
Yes,
very
absolutely.
important.
Yeah.
What about for you?
I'd say for me, it's probably been the difficulty of training. Similarly to the injuries sometimes, but I'd say that adversity you face in training, meaning you're in the ring with other people. Sometimes you'll have a good day of training, sometimes you have a bad day. Either way, you've got to show up the next day. So
Yes.
sometimes it'll be like someone may get the better of you in sparring, and you start questioning yourself. You're like,
Right.
is this a sport for me?
Yeah.
And obviously you have to still, excuse me, you got to continue to show up, because there's some people who will take a step back when they start to face that
Yes.
adversity.
And I'd just like to add on that quickly. That can be related to any industry. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
boxing in our case.
Yep, of course.
So if anyone's watching this and they could apply that to getting a bad grade. Getting a bad grade and not thinking, there's something wrong with me. You've gotten a bad grade. That's not the end of the story.
Yeah.
You can keep going and keep going.
It's that metaphor, isn't it, of being knocked down and getting back up.
Rocky, yeah.
Yeah, Rocky.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
recognise it?
Yeah.
Okay, exactly. But it's that metaphor that just continue, keep going, keep, bounce back. I wanted to ask you as well, I mean, obviously as Bangladeshi, boxers, it's great for me just watching you two and, coming up in your career and hopefully having a long, long career ahead, inshallah.
Inshallah.
That's brilliant. And I'll definitely be keeping a close eye on both of you. But in the world of boxing at the moment, we've got Amir Khan as a sort of Asian representative. We've had, a couple of others. But I think, if I'm right, you two are probably the first sort of British Bengalis that, are sort of up and coming. How do you want to develop that? Is there anything that, how do we get more representation?
I think we need to reduce the stigma around Bengalis going into
Yes.
sport, because at this
Agree.
moment, like I was speaking to you earlier, Bengali doctor, lawyer,
Yes.
we need to be able to say, you know what, we're Bengalis, and if we want to pursue sport, we can pursue sport. There's not, and I think generation now are a lot more accepting of that.
Yes.
And so us personally, what we can do is just show that, listen, you can.
You can do it.
You can
It's
do
possible.
it. And
Yeah.
that's all. So even if
Yeah.
one person watching this says, they can do it, I can do it, then
Yeah.
we've done our job.
That's it, absolutely. And I love that. I love that. It's the idea of removing the stigma, as you say. We still want our youth to excel academically. This doesn't mean, you can do either academics or go into boxing. It's not about that at all. You can do both. You can do anything.
100%.
100%,
100%,
and as you say, it's about showing up, putting that training in. And talking about the training, tell me about like your typical day. What do you eat? What do you do? How do you train to get to that top? 'Cause I'm assuming you're not still having rice and curry all the time, are
Of
you?
course not. We quit that a long time ago.
Good.
Yeah. With training, our routine at the moment is pretty much 6 times a week, twice a day. And we've got to keep that consistent, because some people, they will look at, let's say, a successful athlete, and they'll think, how did they get to that stage of training that often? It's a gradual process. So we had to gradually get there.
Yep.
But training is obviously the main thing. You got to stay consistent with what you do.
Consistent.
Consistency is the main thing, and a lot of people
Yeah.
glorify intensity. So
Right.
with us being consistent has been the main thing, whether that's your diet or your training
Or prayer.
or prayer, whatever it is. It's just to be consistent.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And
definitely.
as you say, it's not just a radical change.
Yeah.
It's those small things, but doing it consistently that give you
Yeah,
that value at the
exactly.
end.
Yeah.
Well, I wish I could carry on talking to you because honestly, it's been so interesting, and I love hearing what you both have to say. What brilliant role models! Thank you so much for joining us on the show today, and I want you guys to come back. Will you come back?
Of course.
Good, good.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
Of
you.
course, but I hope you come back with some wins, some major wins. And just lastly, very quickly, what's the ideal place? Like 10 years' time, where do you want to be?
Inshallah, I'd like to be world champion if we're having this again.
Yep.
Because right now I fight at light heavy. So when we turn professional, inshallah, soon, I'd like
Yep.
to. I'd like to be
Brilliant.
world champion in multiple divisions, inshallah.
Fantastic.
Inshallah.
And for you, the same?
I'd say the same,
So
definitely.
perfect. Inshallah,
Yeah.
it all comes true for you.
Inshallah.
Thank you
Thank
very
you so
much.
much.